All right, welcome back, shooters. We have Rachel right there on our shoulder. She is bundled up today.
I am. It is one cold day here in D.C.
Hey, you know, we got to talk to the NRA about putting the heat in your office.
I know. Actually, I have a space heater, so it's okay. I'm warm. I just have to, bundle up a little bit. It snowed some here last night, so,
well, I warned you the weather was coming.
I know. We're supposed to get some more this weekend. Definitely not looking forward to it. I'm not a snow fan at all.
Okay. I understand you. I think you made a remark to the crew a little earlier this morning that your dog is not a fond of the snow either.
No, my dog really hates it a whole lot, actually.
Okay, getting serious for just a moment. This UN situation, you and I have gone over this a couple of times in the past, and we've kind of given it a little bit of attention, but we haven't really dwelled on it because there's so many issues that the NRA is covering. However, we received a clip, who I'm going to credit it towards the end of the show, who are sending it to me, that the NRA produced on the UN. You want to kind of intro us into what's going to take place here?
Sure. Jenny Simone, one of the reporters over at NRA News, went and did several interviews with several folks from gun rights groups all across the world, and really investigated what the UN is doing to push a small arms treaty. So what that would be is having international bodies govern every country in the world, and that would completely erode our Second Amendment and our freedom here in the United States. We've been working and monitoring the UN for about 14 years to make sure that this doesn't happen, but it's always a fight, it's always a battle, and there are always folks who are very powerful on the world spectrum that want to take away our Second Amendment freedoms here in the United States, and they're wanting to do it through schemes via the UN.
Well, you know, Rachel, well, like I said, we've touched on this before, and we have so many issues locally that stretch from locally all the way to national that we kind of sometimes don't go international with really the other people out there. And this clip is going to point a finger at an individual whose name we're all familiar with, who is financing a lot of this behind the scenes. And I have to tell you that when I saw this clip, it was much more than I expected. I was pretty surprised at the plan. This is not done by some weekend warrior. This is a professionally produced strategy to take small arms away from many people, including us. And in fact, we've already signed this on, correct?
We have not signed this on yet, no. This small arms treaty is actually, there's no draft at this time, and there is a consensus that they will draft it and there will be some sort of process to move forward between now and 2012. But I do want to make sure that everyone knows that for any treaty to be ratified by the United States, it has to be approved by 2/3 of the Senate.
Oh, okay, now because I have information that says 158 countries, Rachel, have already signed on for this.
Many countries have already signed on to it, and they're actually moving this into their the country's constitution as law, but the United States has not.
Okay, all right. I think there's some conflict here because we showed the United States, France, I mean a lot of very major countries as already signing on. So
No.
Okay.
Not the United States. We're still working on that. We're still making sure that that doesn't happen, because if we signed on, then that would end civilian ownership of firearms completely, and it would mean that we couldn't do that based on an international treaty, and that's not true. We can still, obviously, we still have Second Amendment freedoms in this country, and we still have strong Second Amendment freedoms. So that the United States has not yet signed on, but they are drafting, the UN is drafting a treaty between now and 2012, and that treaty would need to be ratified. Now, the current administration has called for ratification, but it has not been ratified at all.
Okay, so you don't think that there's parts of this that we may have already signed on to, that in fact the whole UN Small Arms Treaty in general is still a draft, and that there are no parts of it that any countries have signed on to?
There are no parts that the United States have signed on to.
All right. This is a pretty
very convoluted, very difficult, and you know, when you show the video, you'll show that it's a very professional, well organized scheme by the UN and other entities.
It absolutely is.